terror raid, as it's being described, in Belgium. Officials say 2 people are dead and a third is in custody after cops busted a suspected terror cell that was armed and fully operational, as they put it. We're told ISIS was in charge here and that the cell was about to carry out what authorities in Belgium call large-scale attacks. Mike Barrett is with us now, former Defense Department intelligence officer, live in Washington. We've been able to bring together some tweets of people making their way, these alleged terrorists from France into Belgium. Listen to this. On January the 9th, Abu Maria Belkiki said, "Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the Belgian intelligence agency is the laziest and dumbest in the world, probably. They kept me under surveillance since I was 14, and I passed through Brussels airport like a knife cutting through soft butter." It sounds like this is easy pickings.
Well, I mean, one thing you have to remember, I actually studied abroad in Belgium when I was younger, and, you know, it's a wonderful little country, and, you know, it's generally immune from these sorts of things because it's a small little country, and people tend not to think of them as a terrorist target. But I think what we see here, Shep, is some evidence that actually the so-called reputedly lazy intelligence services in Belgium actually scored a major victory here. By all accounts, they were able to break up a ring. You know, we should be so lucky here in the U.S. We have similar types of threats here, and we have plenty of law enforcement out there trying to look for exactly these types of pre-operational indicators.
A little research indicated that they have the smallest population in Europe, in Belgium, but the largest number per capita of people going over to fight with ISIS and other terrorist organizations.
Yeah, that's right, Shep. So historically, one of the things about Belgium is they had some, you know, some overseas colonies back in the day. And so in the post-colonial, post-World War II environment, what they did was they had fairly open immigration policies. And so they've got a lot of North African immigrants. And you see that exact same demographic that lives in the suburbs around Paris. So very not surprising at all that actually there'd be a connection between the folks who are in the French-speaking parts of Paris as well as the French-speaking parts of Belgium who might be connecting on social media.
Yeah.
And this is really that insidious part of ISIS because you see how they're using social media to radicalize groups.
I was talking to Catherine Herridge a few minutes ago, and she was discussing how the key sometimes to getting these groups is to get them on the run. When they get out of their comfort zone, when they're flush, that's when you can get them. And it sounded to her like that's what happened in Belgium.
Yep, that's exactly right. So in the wake of the Paris event, what I would imagine is what we'll learn over the next few days is that they were already under moderate or low-level surveillance. Following the Paris attacks, you step up that surveillance. That's why we double the number of police officers that are on guard, for example, following an incident. And now you're looking for those pre-operational things. Maybe one of the cell members goes out for lunch, thinks he's being followed. They come back, they say, let's move up the timetable of our attack. So those are the kind of things that we're looking for. And again, I know people don't like to hear this, but this is part of why those NSA wiretaps are so important. You need to have an understanding of the, of the people that might immediately decide to carry out an attack. The only way you can have that information today is if you collected it yesterday.
The AQAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, that's the only one of these terrorist groups, major ones, that has said, we want to attack in the United States. And anytime we hear something about them, I know that ears perk up around here. What's the concern level?
Oh, it's very high among law enforcement right now because what we're seeing is, a combination. Apparently this group was actually directed and controlled, or at least that's what the early reports are saying, by ISIS or by AQAP. What we're seeing is a lot of lone wolves, and the lone wolves are very hard to detect, but as we saw with Charlie Hebdo, a couple of people can actually create a lot of havoc. And we've certainly seen that in the U.S. with small groups and, Muslim or not. Even if you go back as far as Timothy McVeigh and the Oklahoma City bombing, one guy with a truck can cause a lot of problems. Oof. So we're worried about that, but we're also worried about large groups that are coming back from training abroad. Yeah. And frankly, the difference between AQAP and ISIS these days, they're both vying for the kind of mantle of who's the biggest dog on the block, and they are claiming, in various ways to be the real representative of the new caliphate or whatever other propaganda they want to use. Certainly the big target is still the United States. I think the fact that there's an attack in a place like Belgium, what that really shows you is that we all have to be vigilant because there could be an attack anywhere.
Mike Barrett from Washington. Mike, thanks a lot.